Okay, so what's it playing right now? That's it. Earbuds. Or someone else's voice.
They were right here. No, they
Mike.
were right.
Mike.
That's what it said.
Streaming live to YouTube. They can see this. I don't know what else they can see.
Okay. Hi, everybody. Hi, Jamie.
Hello.
All right, I am going to hit record here. And I feel like, okay, got some notifications that popped up here. Yeah, okay. It is so good to have you here, Jamie. And I was just sending out an email really quick to let everybody know the link directly to the live broadcast here. And I know it went out to a lot of people. There are a lot of people who signed up for notifications.
Awesome.
So yeah, so I am so grateful to have you here, the brave one to sign up for the very first trunk show. So Jamie and Mike, thank you so much for joining us. What you guys do is really inspiring to me. You guys have such a strong belief in localism, and you put your money where your mouth is. All of your wool is Canadian. You use natural dyes. I love what you guys do, and I don't want to take up any more time with me talking about what you guys do. I want to hear what you guys do. I want to see what you guys do, and I want everyone to be able to see it. So take it away.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Holly. And thank you to everyone for joining us tonight, and the Edmonton Fiber Frolic team. I'm Jamie.
And I'm Mike.
And we're the General Bean. You go ahead.
We're located in Calgary, Alberta, in the awesome community of Bowness. That's sort of on the western tip of the city, central west. Right, we can see COP, Canada's old Olympic Park. I guess it's COP now. We've been here for about 5 years. We moved here from Kelowna. We wanted to be closer to one of our major suppliers. And BC was just, well, the sunshine tax. Everybody knows about the sunshine tax. It's no joke. And we wanted to be closer to the mountains.
Yeah, so for the past 10 years, we've been growing our little family business. We started off making eco-friendly products and doing markets and stuff with them. And then we got asked, hey, I want to learn how to do this. Can you do kits? And so we started doing kits. So we've kind of moved into doing lots of needle felting kits and supplies. And then I've also started natural dyeing. So that started to seep in to our products as well. So we'll show you a bit of that later.
We always try to keep sustainability at the forefront of our thoughts when we're putting things together. We're using nothing but natural materials, locally sourced materials, and we try to keep things as low waste as possible. There's no plastic here. And when we ship you something, it has no plastic in it. It's all natural.
Fully biodegradable. So tonight we thought we would share with you a few of our products, and then I'll introduce you to my natural dye practice. And then we're going to finish up the evening by doing a needle felting demo, and we're going to do visible mending. So if you've got holes in your sweaters or like him, blankets,
Holes everywhere.
anything, you can fix it with needle felting, and it's lots of fun. So we will show you that at the very end.
So let's take a peek at a few of our kits. They're all good for beginners and come with all the supplies that you need. I'm the photographer. I'm also the graphic designer. So I try to lay it out as easily as possible.
I don't know what happened there. Oh, there we go.
Yeah.
Oh, I think because we have a friend
Okay.
joining.
I got you.
Hello, Deviter.
Hello there.
Welcome.
Going.
Awesome. Well, we're just about to show some kits.
Here we are with some kits.
So we sort of have 3 sizes of kits, and we have lots of different projects. So here's a sample of one of our larger kits. This is actually our cactus or succulent kit, and Mike has the finished. So there's a ton of techniques in there.
Call me Vanna Mike.
Cute.
And so in the kit, the bigger ones come with 4 needles. Our smaller kits come with 2. you are going to break some, so you need extra. They always come with a little pad and then all the materials you need and full instructions that are in color with pictures and words.
The
And
words are the important part.
yeah, well, pictures are pretty important too. So that's one of our larger kits. And then we have a little kit. So our small kits tend to be our simplest because they tend to be less materials. So this one is for the mushroom. It's a perfect beginner project. We've also got ones to make little bees that are an awesome beginner project as well. And then we move up to a slightly bigger kit. And these ones are still good for beginners, but maybe your second project, like this one is an alpaca, but we've got all kinds and we'll show you a few. And so these ones usually come with 2 needles. This one happens to come with glass eyes as well. And then all the other materials. So we'll just show you a couple of the finished items of some of our kits. So one of our larger kits with Christmas coming is to make Christmas baubles. You get enough to make 3 in 3 different colors, and we show you how to make the designs or just have fun and create any kind of design you want. That's the fun part of art. And then another one of our small kits is our panda. He's a great beginner class or beginner project. And then our most popular is our gnome. Our little gnomes come with enough materials to make 6 of these guys. And it's 6 different colors and they're all the heathered. I think I've got 4 here. So this one we also do as a class. It's a great beginner class. We have a few coming up. You could take it over Zoom. So then you can take it from wherever you are. You'll see that on our website under classes. And then if you're in Calgary, we're doing a few. This weekend, we'll be at the Inglewood Night Market making them. We'll be at the Apothecary in December making them. And then I have a couple classes with a company called Dots and Lines coming up in November as well. So lots of fun. And if you're coming to the Frolic, you could come pick up your materials at the show. We'll have kits. And essentially the class is basically free. You pay for the kits if you're doing Zoom. It's a little different if you're doing it elsewhere. Here's one of our medium kits. Our owl is a fun one as well. Oh, and then the killer whale. We'll show you one more.
You don't want to show the sheep?
That's not a kit. That's
Sorry.
an ornament. So here's our
My
orca.
bad.
Those of you on the coast will appreciate this one. He does come with glass
Jamie.
eyes. Yeah.
Susanna's just asking a question. If she's wanting to find out about classes, does she go to the website or what's the best way to find out about classes?
Yeah, if you go to our website, you'll see workshops and classes up in the top right-hand corner. If you're on a computer, if you are on a device, it'll be in the scroll down menu. And I tend to post them all there. If it says it's $0, it means that it's taking place somewhere. So you usually have to go to that website to sign up. If you're doing Zoom, you can sign up right there. I don't think I've posted the ones for the Inglewood Night Market. So if you're in Calgary and you want to do Inglewood Night Market, just go to Inglewood Night Market, I think it's .com, and you'll see the info there. And you can always email. Every month I send out a newsletter with all of our classes and events and such. So if you sign up for the newsletter on the website, you'll get it all in your mailbox once a month. I try not to spam. All right, so where are we? Yeah. So now we thought we'd chat a little bit about our wool. So with our needle felting wool, we only use Canadian wool. So it all comes from a small mill about an hour from our studio. They use vintage equipment from the 1800s and they minimally process everything. So there's no harsh chemicals. So when you look at the wool, you will see little pieces of straw because it hasn't been chemically processed to strip those out. But we find that just adds charm. It's the Dorset breed, which felts beautifully. It's a coarser wool, So it needle felts up really nice. With needle felting, coarser wool works better than a finer, say a merino. And we sell it in a roving form. So we do have samples. This is our little 5-gram bits. You can buy just 5 grams of any color. You can get it in color packs as well with like 24 or 44 colors. If you get 44, that's our entire color palette. We then sell it in 25 gram. And this is what you'll see if you get it at one of our retailers. We have a few and they're listed on the website. So that's that. And then you can also order 50 grams online. So if you need lots, and you can see here the little bits of straw. So we use the roving. It works really well for felting and it's easy to roll up into balls that way. If you're needing cream to use as your core wool, you can order larger amounts. So cream or core wool on the website, you'll see you can order 100 grams, 200 grams, a pound, 2 pounds. And the reason for that, if you're new to felting, is we usually use just the cream on the inside and then use your colors just on the outside. Especially if you have maybe a nice hand-dyed wool, you might not want to waste it by having it where no one's going to see it. So buy your core in bulk and then cover it with your pretty fibers. That's my tip. So yeah, the wool all comes from sheep that are in Western Canada. So the mill sources directly from farmers between BC to Saskatchewan. So it's all local, all Canadian. And that's our wool. You can find it all on our website, which is thegeneralbean.com. And while we're at it, we'll show you a few of our finished items. This is kind of where we started. So if you want to grab the dryer balls, these are what we were known for many years before we started doing kits and supplies. So we create dryer balls in all kinds of fun patterns. We do sell solid as well. And we'll have a bunch of these at the Frolic in person. And online, you can buy them in sets of 3. In person, we let you buy them individually. And then a couple other things we do that are fun are car diffusers. So these little guys just slip on the vent in your car, and then you can add essential oils. And we have, I think, like 11 different patterns. So there's a little bee,
Lots of
a
different
sloth.
patterns.
You can see all of them on the website. There we go. And then at the show, we will have a few finished ornaments. These are not on the website yet. Probably won't happen before Christmas, unfortunately. But these have been our most popular, our little sheeps. And my favorite is Waldo the hare.
We used to have a rabbit that would sort of spend its day right behind one of our trees. We nicknamed it Waldo because it looked a lot like that. It's a hare, not a rabbit.
And the little Dalmatian. So these projects are a little bit more difficult. So I should quickly explain, if you're wanting to go beyond beginner, I do a subscription box a couple times a year, 3. And what we do is every month we send you a kit, and then we also do a video. We do a live Zoom, and if you can't make the Zoom, then you can do the video. And then that way each month we do something a little bit harder. So you can start with no experience. This month we started with a hedgehog. That little guy, hard to see, but he's super simple. And then we moved on to a cat, and then we're doing a puppy, and then we're gonna do a bird. So that's an idea too, the subscription. And you can sign up for the whole thing at once. And that way you get 1 free. So you pay for 3, you get 1 free. Or you can sign up month to month, and we have a subscription option, and it'll automatically withdraw each month. So that's kind of the classes and stuff.
So Jamie, tell us about some of your natural dyeing stuff.
All right, I'd love to. So during the pandemic, I had a little bit of spare time. a little. So I finally got to start doing something I've always wanted to, and that's natural dyeing. So I've spent like the last year and a half experimenting with both creating finished things like scarves and then also supplies. So the supplies are slowly coming, and I'm hoping by the new year to have stuff online. For now, it's just at markets. Or if you see something, just send me a message and I'll see what I can do. So
Yarn.
let's start with the yarn. So we're using all Canadian wool as well from the same mill. Go. So it's all very small batch. So there's only a little and only a few colors. And my idea is twice a year, I'll probably put out a color palette. And that'll be the color palette for a few months, and then we'll change it up. So this is kind of this fall colors. We've got a single ply. So this is our one ply. It's about a sport weight, and these are dyed over a light gray. So you actually get kind of a tweedy look to it. This one here was dyed with marigolds. So that's that one. Single ply, it's woolen spun. So it's very different than commercial yarn, which is typically worsted spun. This is very similar to hand spun is the best way to kind of describe it. It's spun on equipment from the 1800s, which is pretty cool. And yeah, I do have a shawl. This is the river shawl. I can't remember her name right now, but you can find it on Ravelry. And this I used an indigo with the natural. And the great thing is it's a merino rambouillet, but it's Canadian. So I find that it's soft, but it's also durable. So it doesn't tend to pill a lot. The sweater I'm wearing is the yarn. It's not natural dyed, but it's the yarn. And I've been wearing this for a year now, and I've never depilled it or anything. So I find it's quite sturdy, but soft. That's our one ply. And then we do a two ply, which is an Aran weight. So it's basically two of those twisted together. It knits up beautifully at about 16 stitches. This one here is a combo of madder, which is a plant, and the dye comes from the root, and couch, which is a dye that comes from a tree. The couch is kind of a brownie color, and the madder's red. So it's kind of an orangey fall red, brown color. And then we have bulky. So we've got the naturals, and we try to have gray in all of the different weights, the light or medium gray and dark gray, and then the dyed. And the bulky is lots of fun. It's a single ply as well. It's done with the Dorset, so it's a little sturdier of a wool. And I knit it for hats and stuff at about a 10 millimeter needle. So if you wanted to do a scarf or something, you could easily go up to 12 or 15 or even higher if you want loose. So it's pretty versatile. And then I have one special. There's only one of each skein. There is a dark purple as well, which is just curing right now. These are a mohair and wool. So they're 70% wool and 30% mohair. It's hard to tell, but there is a bit of a halo on it. It would make a beautiful shawl. There's quite a few yardages. There's 458 meters, and it's a 2-ply fingering. So this yarn is the yarn that's used for our socks. So I naturally dye socks as well. These socks are done at the mill, and I buy them in cream, and then I dye them up. And this is the actual yarn. I had them make me the yarn as well. So you could make plastic-free socks if you wanted to with this yarn as well. That's to you. And then I have been doing rovings as well because we needle felt. so far, these have just been available at the markets. In the new year, I will put together color packs, which will always change. I usually use the exhaust baths from my other things, so I don't waste any dye. And then we get lots of fun colors. And I've been needle felting fun little pin cushions, all out of the natural dyes. And I just love the colors. It's very different. So we'll have some of those at the in-person show if you pop by and see us. All right. Now let's show you a few of my finished goods. So I've been having fun, and these make great gifts and stuff. Tea towels. These are bundle dyed, and I'm offering a course this month. It's November now, at the Apothecary in Calgary. So bundle dyeing is really fun because you lay your stuff down on the piece and then you roll it up and you steam it. And what happens is wherever you had something, it leaves an impression. So you can use flowers. The purple here is a tree. The pink is cochineal, which is actually a bug that hosts onto cactuses. So you can do all kinds of stuff. For the class, we're going to make bandanas, which can also be used as gift wrap. And with these, we're going to make kits. I was hoping to have them this month, but there's never enough hours in the day. So we'll have these in the new year for sure, where you can get all the instructions and all the materials to bundle dye your own. And so at the show, we'll have lots of those if you want to not make something and just buy yourself something, as well as ice dyed stuff. I've been ice dyeing. So this is a silk shawl with the natural dyes. And ice dyeing is really cool because you basically layer the ice with different dye stuffs and then your fabrics. And then you just let it be for like 24 hours or so. I've also used snow. We got snow a couple weeks ago or a week ago. So I did some snow dyeing. Tons of fun. And then once it melts, you can see your pattern. I usually do it 2 or 3 times, but you could do it once and have more white. But lots of fun. I'll do some demos on that in the new year as well. So we'll have shawls, scarves, bandanas at the Edmonton Fiber Frolic. And how are we doing for time? I think we better do our demo.
Do your demo.
All right, and I was
was
worried
just
we
about to
wouldn't have
say.
enough time. All right, we're gonna do our demo real quick. So we're going to learn how to patch holes by needle felting. So I'm gonna hopefully share my screen. That's not what I wanted to do. Oh, sorry, guys. Thank you. There we go. Ignore all the stuff I left on my computer. Did it turn on?
It did turn off.
Sorry, just a minute. Mike's fixing it. Oh, great.
Yeah, sorry about that. Why don't you turn off sharing for a second?
Sorry for the technical difficulties.
There we go.
All right, try again. There we go. All right. So I have a little piece of fabric here that has a hole. You always want to work on a surface. If you don't, you're going to break your needle on your table, or you're going to stab yourself if you're working in your lap. If I'm doing a sleeve, I just squish this and stick it in the sleeve because you don't want to felt your sleeve together. So always put it in between if you're working on a garment. This time I'm just using it flat. You can use things like stencils we have a kit called Wool Aid, and in that kit you get this little stencil and then like 8 different colors to work with and the instructions. Or you could use cookie cutters or just freehand. So what I do is I take some wool roving, and I always work with just small amounts and build up. So I'm not having to like try and deal with gobs. So I'm just gonna lay some fiber down and I'm gonna start to poke. So with needle felting, it's very important that you're poking straight in and out. You don't want to flick and you don't want to change direction because the needles are brittle and they'll break. These are barbed, very sharp. Watch your fingers. The little barbs catch the wool and mat the fibers together. So the more you poke, the stiffer and stiffer your project gets, which is how we create 3D things. But you can also do pictures. So you could do needle felted paintings, or like we're doing, mending. So I'm going to do a thin layer over top of my entire heart. I'm just going to do this quick. If I was not doing a quick demo, I'd probably take my time. It is going to stick to your pad. So you're going to slowly pull it off, and then you're going to flip it over, and you're going to do it again on the other side. So you could lay your thing down or just go over, because you can see where it's come through. And I just like to do that to sandwich the hole. Make sure that you're getting the hole. And I always like to have fun and do opposite colors and stuff, but you don't have to. I have a gray vest where I just used gray wool and just covered it. I didn't make a pattern, and you can barely tell it's there. So if you don't want it to be so visible, you don't have to. So once you've done that, peel it up again, nice and gentle, and then flip it over. It usually has fuzzy bits from sticking to the pad. So to kind of take those down, I just go in at an angle, but still straight in and out, and just poke down all the bits without going back through the pad. And if you had any bare spots, you could fill it in. And the great thing about it is if you're putting it on something that gets machine washed, you can still machine wash it because it's already felted. It may tighten up a little, but it shouldn't be a big deal. We actually make kits for a company that's coming up, I saw later tonight, called Simply Merino. And they use our kits to fix up any holes in their stuff. So you can actually buy kits in the matching colors from them. So then you get it all covered up, and then you can go on wearing it, and you don't have to throw it in the landfill. So that's visibly mending with needle felting and a quick felting tutorial. Alrighty, we're going to stop the share and say goodbye. We've run out of time. So thank you so much for joining us. You can always find us online on Instagram and Facebook. Instagram's at The General Bean, Facebook's at The General Bean 2013, and online at thegeneralbean.com. Have a great evening. If you have any questions, just reach out. Thank you. Do we leave?
Wait, sorry. I had to type in the chat there really quick, that last little coupon code. You didn't mention it. I was waiting for you to mention it.
Oh, I forgot. We ran out of time, so I
Yeah.
totally forgot. Did you put it in
That's
the chat?
okay.
Okay.
I did put it in the chat. So yeah, feel free because you guys are still on. So feel free. Go ahead and mention it really quick.
Oh, we're still on. Okay, awesome. So I totally forgot to mention that we have a coupon code since you joined us tonight. It's good for the next 2 weeks through the whole festival. So if you go to our website, just type in Edmonton, all in capital, and you'll get 10% off your purchase. If you're coming to the festival, then just come to our booth and say, hey, I watched you on the virtual, and you get 10% off your purchase at the festival. All right, thank you. Have a great night.
Yeah, thanks so much, Jamie.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Okay. Hey, Davida.
Hello there. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I am doing extremely well. Cannot complain. It's a little dark here, but all is well.
Yeah, well, it's a little bit later there than it is here. Oh,
Yeah.
man.
How's it going? That was really interesting. I've been interested in felting for a long time, and I just, didn't know the ins and outs of it. So that was really, really educational, and something I'm definitely going to look into. I'm going to definitely check them out because that was really good. That was really, really good.
Yeah. Yeah, and such a simple little tutorial, that was actually something that I did on like a little pair of fingerless gloves I made actually out of just plain red heart acrylic yarn. When I was first playing around with fleece that, oh man, it was like a nightmare fleece that I got from a farmer. I did not know what I was doing. I was like, yeah, I could totally just wash a fleece, no problem. Oh my gosh, I didn't know what I was doing.
Yeah, I love, that you can learn something new. And people there are just so many talented people. So I'm really excited to be here and learn and experience all these different crafters and all the cool things that they're doing. So yeah, super cool.
Yeah, but I mean, seriously, speaking of talented maker, crafter people, I'm in the presence of one right now.
Girl, I am just over here trying to learn and explore and expand. It's just so interesting how things happen in life. This was definitely not something that I foresaw. I did not see this, crocheting taking this turn and just changing my life. It is now, and I'm so excited about it. I'm really excited to be a part of this community and fully embracing it, all that there is to it. There's so much. So yeah, I'm just happy to be here.
Well, tell me that, like, tell the audience the story. Like, what was that little hook, like literal little hook that got you started down this rabbit hole to where you are today?
Sure. So first, I will say hello, friends. It is so good to be here with you. I am Mrs. Davida, and my crochet journey actually started, well, I've always known how to crochet. I don't know when I learned. I don't know who taught me. I don't remember. But I've always known how to crochet. But of course, I was just crocheting back and forth. For just a simple chain stitch and try to make a square or a rectangle blanket. But in 2012, I was laid off from a marketing job, and I needed something to occupy my time. So like most people who tell their origin story, I was by Walmart, picked up some hooks. My sister was having a baby, and I said, you know what? This yarn is really pretty. I'm going to make a blanket. And so I made my first blanket. Well, not my first blanket, but I made a blanket for my niece who's now 12. She just turned 11. She just turned 11. So I made a blanket for her, was really excited about it, and was like, oh, what else can I do? And I was at a hair braiding salon, and there was a young lady in there, and she had on these amazing crocheted earrings. And I was just staring at her the entire time. So she had on these earrings, but she was also working on a blanket, and it was a 6-point star blanket. I was like, what are you doing? What are you making? And she was like, oh, I'm making a blanket. I was like, wait a minute, you can make blanket in shapes like that? She was like, yes, you can. I'm like, how do you do that? She was like, just go on YouTube. There's so many different tutorials and you'll learn how to make so many different things. So YouTube was really my first school. I did not know how to read patterns. I didn't know, what any of the terminology was, but I'm so thankful for YouTube. I am so thankful for Google to be able to search and find out these terms. And then I'm grateful for the talented creators and designers who have been so willing to share their talent with the world. Like, if it wasn't for you guys, I wouldn't be able to do anything. So big shout out to all the designers out there who are just doing a darn thing in the crochet world. I am a crocheter. I want to learn how to knit. And I was just joking with a friend of mine that I think I'm going to have to use the big giant needles in order to learn how to knit, because it just escapes me. I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing. So I am a one-handed girl. I am a crocheter and I absolutely love it. I love making earrings. Shout out to Aniqua from My Kind of Thing, who is a fabulous doll maker. And she has what she calls My Kind of Thing University. And she is just such a great teacher. So she's taught us how to make dolls, and that's something that I'm passionate about. And then I'm learning more about tapestry crochet. I've had the opportunity to interview some really cool people to teach me about tapestry crochet. I'm just excited. I joined Furls Crochet in 2020. Toward the end of 2020. And that's when the whole Mrs. DeVita persona came to life. So shout out to Harrison and Lorraine and Pam and Crystal from Furls Crochet. Those are my people. And I am just so grateful again to be in the presence of such greatness all the time. My very good friend, Michelle Ware, introduced me to Furls hooks. I was using regular crochet hook. Like, what else are you supposed to be using? That's what you get from the Walmart or the Michaels or wherever, right? So I just had the regular old metal crochet hook, and I was doing my thing, and she gave me a candy shop hook. And I was like, what is this thing? And I started crocheting with that hook, and I have not looked back. I remember one time I didn't have a particular hook size, and I picked up one of my metal hooks, and my hand was like, what you doing? We don't use those anymore. So I had to go and order the hook that I needed in a particular size. So that's a little bit of my journey. Again, just enjoying it, loving everything about it, really enjoying the fiber arts world and being ingrained in it, because there are so many aspects of it. So that's who I am, and that's what I've been doing the last couple of years.
That is amazing. I love it.
Yeah, I'm having fun.
It's amazing how I think it's funny. I bet so many babies get people into fiber arts, because that's a lot. Well, it was my daughter. She wasn't a baby, but then it was my whole like fertility, trying to have babies, that kind of kept me, because it was one of those like build it and they will come, like make baby blankets and they will come journey.
Seriously, like, it's like, and that's how it was with me with dolls. I was like, well, try it and post it and see what happens. And then people are like, oh, I want one. Oh, and I'm like, oh, really? I really want this? This is crazy. So, It's amazing. It's such a great feeling, though. It really is. I love gifting people things that I've made with my hands because that was time that I put into it, time that I'll never get back again. So for those people who are making things, you're putting a little piece of yourself in every single stitch. So don't take that for granted, Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Are you able to tell us about this upcoming project that you're going to be working on?
Which upcoming project? It's always so much going on. Which one? Well, one of the things that I'm working on is called Crochet Fashion Week. Is that the project you're talking about? So I am so excited. I was approached by a group of folks who are creating this amazing event happening in Atlanta in February of 2023 called Crochet Fashion Week. And so this is not just a fashion show. If you guys are familiar with the New York Fashion Week, Fashion Week in Milan, like all those amazing things where you get to see these incredible designs walk the runway. That's what's happening in Atlanta, February 11th and 12th. And I am so, excited and amazing are two of my favorite words, but I am so excited to see the amazing designs that are going to walk the runway. Crochet is everywhere, y'all. And so this fashion week is going to be all about crochet accessories, crochet clothes, crochet couture, like all these amazing things are going to be happening during that week. So if you can, please follow Crochet Fashion Week on all the social platforms. It's on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook. There's a website, crochetfashionweek.com, to sign up and find out more about this. We have some incredible designers that are going to be a part of this event, and we're going to start interviewing them very soon. So definitely stay tuned. Gregory Stitch is the creative director. So he's designing the runways and he's, picking what fashions are going to be walking the runway. And if you all are not following him, please do so, because his reveal of his Halloween costume, child, did you see it?
I didn't even. I've been so busy. I got to go see it though. He's so inspiring.
He is amazing. And through crochet, through furls, I actually started a series in Black History Month in 2021 called Maker Stories. And he was one of the first people that I interviewed through that series. So go and check out Maker Stories on the Furls Crochet YouTube channel. But he's going to be the creative director, and it's just going to be fabulous. It's going to be an amazing show. And I think that everybody who loves crochet needs to be front and center, because I will be for sure.
Yeah, pretty much. Oh my gosh. Yeah. That was like my first introduction to you when you were announcing that you were going to be involved in the project. And I didn't even know about the project. And I was just like, oh my gosh, like mind blown. I have to be in Atlanta in February. That's just, yeah.
Yes, I'm looking forward to meeting so many people. I feel like it's going to be a coming together of such great minds, and inspirational, right? We all need to find inspiration because we've all lost our Crojo. I don't know, it happens, right? Where you're just like, I don't even feel like picking up this hook, or I don't feel like picking up these needles. I just don't feel like it right now. And then you see something and you're like, holy cow, I am blown away. Let me get back on my game. So I'm believing that this event is going to be that for so many of us. And I'm excited, looking forward to it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it's going to be awesome.
It's, oh my gosh, yeah. So your role in the event, it sounds like, there's a theme as you've been talking about yourself and what you do, that you're a storyteller.
You think so? I think so too. I think I am. I want to tell the story of fiber artists. And I want to tell that story and let it reach more than the average person. Right?
Mm,
A lot of times we have this picture in our mind of who crocheters are or who knitters are, and we need to change that. Like, we need to completely change our perception of who is picking up a hook and who is picking up a needle, because it is a wide breadth of people from different ethnic backgrounds, from gender to non-binary. There are so many people who are crocheting and knitting now, and we need to embrace that, and we need to welcome them into the fold. And so that's really important to me. And that's why Maker Story was something that I started at Furls Crochet during Black History Month, because I wanted to tell the story of the Black doll makers, of the Black Tunisian crocheters. Like, I wanted to tell that story. And then I went off and was like, you know what? For June, I want to talk to the LGBTQ plus community. They're out there and they're doing amazing things. So I feel like a hook and some yarn can go a whole long way. And if I can tell that story, then here I am to tell it. Yeah.
that's amazing.
That's it. That's where I am with it.
I love it. Yeah, I love it.
Yeah.
Now, I have one more question for you, because as I was looking through some of the projects that you're working on, stuff in your social media, I came across something called a project you're working on called Let's Chat. And it
Yes,
sounds like you're working on that with your daughter.
I am. So Let's Chat is a podcast that my daughter and I have. My daughter is 14, and we started the podcast in 2020. That was a pivotal year for so many people, right? So many things were birthed in 2020. And excuse me, one day my daughter and I were just sitting on a couch and we were just chatting and talking about different, things that were going on, not only in the world, but like in her friend group, and things that we were seeing on television, and different topics that were really great conversations for us. Talking about relationships and talking about friendship and talking about trust and we just a wide breadth of things that we started talking about. And I said, Leah, do you want to start a podcast? She's like, you know what, Mommy, that's a great idea. Let's do it. So there was born Let's Chat. Told my husband, I was like, I think we want to start a podcast. He was like, okay. And he just went and ordered all the equipment for us. My husband is amazing. He is a musician, a jazz musician, and a producer. And he actually just released a new album this October 14th. Yeah, he released his new album, Breaks from the Soul, Volume 2. So a lot of times when you hear music in my background, that's his music. But Let's Chat with Leah and Davida is our podcast, and you can find it on YouTube. What is it? Apple Podcast, all the podcast places, y'all. It's available. And we actually were just in the studio again on Sunday working on season 3. So we're coming back to have those conversations. It's really about mothers and daughters, making space for mothers and daughters to have conversations. My mom passed away in 2018, and she and I were like the best of friends. I called my mother multiple times a day. So I was always in conversation with her, and I wanted to make sure that I kept that communication going with my daughter. And I wanted her to feel comfortable coming to me with anything, like anything. I think it's so valuable. So I wanted the world to hear those conversations, and I want mothers to feel comfortable having these conversations with their daughters. They need us. Even when they're at those points where I don't want anything to do with you, or you're annoying, or whatever the case may be. They still need us. They need us to guide them. They need us to listen to them. I make it a point to say, whenever she comes to me, I'm like, okay, am I listening or am I providing advice? What kind of conversation are we having right now? And she's like, I just need you to listen. I'm like, okay, I got you. And she might come back later on in the day and say, okay, mommy, I'm ready to hear your advice. So I just want to make sure that I have that open dialogue with her and my sons as well. We also, they've been guests on the show. My husband's been guest on the show. We, invite people to come and hang out with us. So yeah, let's chat with Leah and Davida. Please go and subscribe and like our channel. I'd appreciate that.
That's amazing. So not fiber arts related at all, just
It's not.
relationships.
It's like
Yeah.
it's the breadth of that conversation. We do talk about fiber arts though, because my business is actually named after her. And the other day I have a ridiculous order for earrings. And I was like, Leah, why can't you crochet? Girl, get this up so I can get some help. But yeah, we don't, it's not fiber arts related, but when you are crocheting, you can listen to the podcast. When you're knitting, you can listen to, so yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I feel like how long have you been in business with Leah Simone?
Since I officially launched it 2012, right? Yeah.
Okay.
That's when I
Okay.
started it. Yeah.
Because when I was looking at your link tree, I was like, I feel like I have been following that brand.
Wow.
Yeah, for a while. And I was like, oh, okay. Like, yeah, I've been following you for a while and didn't know that it was you.
That's so funny. I say that all the time when I'm like, you know what? I've made your patterns quite a few times. I talk to people, I'm like, that's who made this pattern. Okay. Like I went to a conference earlier this year and was like, oh my God. Like I was totally starstruck because I was meeting people whose patterns I've been downloading for years. So it's always cool to be in the room with the designers. I love it.
Yeah. Okay, I should check and see if people have been, because we've been talking and I just need to see. Yeah, okay. All right, I wanted to make sure that we weren't like missing out on people actually like commenting on our conversation, but it doesn't look like people have been commenting very much on our conversation. So I just wanted to make sure that we weren't missing like people asking questions about,
We definitely don't want to miss anybody.
Yeah.
Definitely not.
So
Excuse me.
you were saying that you were a girl from Brooklyn.
I am.
Yeah. But are you in Brooklyn now?
I'm not. I'm in Long Island now.
Okay.
I am a Brooklyn girl through and through. I'm in Brooklyn all the time. My church is in Brooklyn, so I am a Brooklyn girl 100%. 100% Brooklyn all day. We'll always represent. We went away a couple of weeks ago and somebody said, oh, where are you guys from? And I said, Long Island. My husband looked at me like, are you crazy? Like, you don't say it. Like,
Yeah. Oh my gosh, that's so funny.
excuse me, too funny. I'm a Brooklyn girl whose birthday is tomorrow.
I know. We're gonna miss you tomorrow.
Yeah, I won't be able to hang out tomorrow, but I'll be back on Thursday. And we have some cool things happening. I'm looking forward to the rest of this virtual event. I'm sure it's going to be fantastic. Are there any spoilers you can give us? Anything that's coming up that you can tease?
I've put a lot of the schedule actually on the website. So if you go on the main menu, you can actually go down to the free virtual event and click on that under November Fiber Frolic, and you can see a lot of the schedule. Not all of it is in there yet. Partly just because I've been like going crazy getting everything ready. There's my photobomb husband.
Hello.
Oh, you know what I can tease is that one of the big things that's really important to me with the Fiber Frolic is that we have a festival guidebook every time we do the festival. And so every time it's gotten like bigger and bigger. and it's digital, because like right now it's like 95 pages long. So if I was to print it, it would be humongous. But that is going to be released tomorrow. So,
Super.
and it has, yeah, it's a little bit insane. Like it has all the information about the workshops, it has all the information about all the vendors, and they're like clickable through to their websites. It has so much information. It's really beautifully put together. It has a beautiful editorial that was shot back in the spring. Yeah, it's a really beautiful, just like all in one flip book PDF. Yeah, so that's going to be released tomorrow. I'm really, really excited about that. So that's a little bit of a spoiler.
Ooh, nice. I'm looking forward to that. Definitely gonna flip through that, when it drops tomorrow. Looking forward. This is good stuff. Now, this is my first time, ever hearing about the Edmonton Fiber Frolic, probably because I'm here in New York. Can you tell me a little bit more about it? I'm sure, the folks watching are very familiar, but I am not. So I'd love to know a little bit more about the virtual event and then the physical event, the actual festival.
Yeah. Well, and the virtual, okay, so Edmonton Fiber Frolic was started actually by Allison Barnes, who's one of our premier sponsors, back in 2016. And Allison Barnes and Jess started it together in 2016 in a little community hall here in town. And it was just, there was such an amazing response to it. Like there is such a strong crafting community here. And I mean, there's probably lots of reason for it, right? We have really long, cold winters here. So, it's like, well, what else are you supposed to do? So that's probably a lot of the reason why there was such a great response. But I was a vendor. I had just gotten a spinning wheel. I had been like working extra shifts to pay for it. And I was so proud and excited of my brand new spinning wheel. And I had just introduced my first line of hand-dyed yarn. And so I was so excited to be a vendor at my very first yarn show. And I had been in such a tizzy that I'd forgotten my spinning wheel. So I was like, well, I have to have my spinning wheel at the show. Like people need to see this. So I ran home, I got all set up and I ran back home to get it. And when I got back, it was like 15 minutes before the show was ready to start. And there were people lined up like down the block. And then I was like, oh my gosh.
Wow.
Yeah. So yeah, obviously it was amazing to me that because I knew that like there were lots of people who liked yarn, but I didn't know it was going to be like that. And it's just always been amazing to me how much people love coming together and how strong the fiber arts community is, not just here in Edmonton, but like everywhere. And how wonderful textiles and fiber arts are at bringing people together. For me as an introvert and a little bit of an awkward person most of the time, it's been amazing to me to find a place where like I'm not the awkward one,
Yeah, absolutely. I certainly do know. I can identify. It's like, hey, I found my tribe. Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So yeah, in 2020 when the pandemic hit, the frolic was supposed to happen in May, and Allison and Jess, clearly they couldn't go forward. Like everything was, locked down. And at that time, Allison in particular, I think was like, I need to focus on my dyeing. That's where her heart was. And she wanted to just focus on being a dyer. And so, they just kind of asked the community, for a show of hands. And I just felt so fortunate that they trusted me with like taking the torch forward. So I had a partner for a little while, Angela. she was like, okay, Holly, because I was like, Angela, come on, we got to do this together. And she was like, okay, Holly. And then after that first, we did it virtual in the first May that we did it. And after that first one, she was like, okay, girl, you're crazy. This is way too much. I just want to dye yarn too. So she's a vendor and a sponsor as well, Neat Nick Yarns. So she was just like, this is way too intense. I just want to dye yarn. And yeah. So yeah, now I have Shannon coming on as like the event coordinator to work with me, and she's excited about event coordinating. She's not a yarn dyer. She's just excited about coordinating an events. So yeah.
That's exciting.
Yeah, I love it because the focus is so much on community. I call it a festival instead of calling it a trade show, even though a lot of it is shopping, because it is, yes, it's shopping, but it's so much about just coming together as a community. So, and I am wondering, well, she got a Zoom invite. Because I'm just wondering, Shannon's an hour behind us, well, behind me, and like 3 hours behind you with Simply Merino. So I'm hoping that she knows to hop on now and not an hour from now.
Uh-oh. Yeah, an hour from now, Mrs. DeVita, I have to shut it down.
I know. But yeah. So yeah, the thing is, after the virtual event in May of 2021, then we were able to start coming back together in person, like really slowly. It was that sort of graduated coming back together in person. We still did a lot of virtual stuff. And I just felt in order to keep things accessible, we needed to continue with the virtual. So here we are. And I just feel like we got to just continue on with, doing virtual. I like having that connection beyond just folks who can drive or fly to Edmonton.
Right. And it really opens up, who you can have on, who folks can get to meet and learn about. It really opens it up and makes it so broad. So I'm thankful for virtual as well, for sure. It just makes a big difference. So thank you. Thank you for continuing.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's the thing, right? To be able to connect with you and some of the other, like a lot of the other guests that we have on coming on through the next 10 days are not local Edmonton or even Alberta people. They're people that we're bringing in from all over the place. So they wouldn't necessarily be within the budget to bring to Edmonton, right?
Exactly. So now you have all these amazing people and no budget problems. That makes a huge difference, man. A huge difference. So the but the physical show will be when? When does that happen again?
That's going to be November 12 and 13.
Whoa. People are going to shop until they drop.
Pretty much.
One day I'll be there.
Yes, I know. We need to get you out here.
Yeah.
I am just going to send Shannon another email really quick.
Okay, no problem.
In the meantime, do you want to tell us a little bit, because you've been talking about doll makers that you know. And I had mentioned on an Instagram live over the weekend, Coletta.
Yes.
Because she had commented on an Instagram live. I'm really, really excited. She's so talented.
She is amazing, and her story is amazing too. I just love, like I told you, I love introducing the world to these creators because they just have so much breadth behind what they do. And she makes fabulous dolls, and she writes these incredible patterns. They're so easy to read and understand. And, you can customize your doll to the way you want it. And then she also, she's actually preparing to go to the Detroit Doll Show, which is like so cool, because when you think about things like that, you think about Mattel, you think about all the, big major companies who are presenting their new dolls for the holidays. And here is this fiber artist presenting her dolls to this audience at the Detroit Doll Show. Like, it's crazy.
Wow.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
I'm so excited to have her on and introduce her to you all, so that she can be a part of this celebration of fiber art. Yeah, she's incredible. She's incredible.
That
I
is
have
so-
Yolanda Jordan is another doll designer, and she actually came out with a book. I don't know if you got the show.
Oh, it keeps blurring it.
Is that
You get it. Yeah, there you go. Yes. Oh my gosh.
a brown
Such a
doll?
fan of that book. Yeah.
Incredible. When she, came out with this, I was just like, oh yeah, I gotta have it. Like, it's not good enough to just print your patterns from Ravelry or from Etsy. I need the book. So I, supported and purchased the book. But there are just so many talented doll makers out there. They are like rocking it. So always excited to celebrate and share and all that good stuff. Good stuff. Any word from our friend?
Yes. She is on her way.
All right.
She just had some issues with the link, the invitation link. So she's on her way.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good things. And then I have
What
another person that I'm trying to get on. He's a tapestry artist. I don't know if you were successful in reaching out to him or not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
He's so talented. Like, these people, man, I'm like, you did that with what? Like, how did you do that? I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah. No, I know. That's so amazing. Like out in LA, right?
Yep, he's in LA. And he's just so talented. And I can't wait to interview him, chat with him again, see what he's been up to lately. He was learning an indigenous language the last time I spoke with him. So I'm curious to see what he's
Amazing.
Good stuff. Good stuff. Good stuff.
What are you working on right now?
So I decided that I want to make myself a crown for tomorrow. I am the ultimate procrastinator. And so I'm like, let's see if I can make this happen. So we'll see. Hopefully I'll be able to show it on Instagram tomorrow.
I love it.
We shall see. We shall see. I'm like, am I going to be able to pull this off? But I'm going to try. That's all I could do, right? Oh my goodness. It's a pattern I found online. I'll be
I love it, Shannon.
we shall see. I'm like, Oh, but try. That's all I can do, right?
Oh, hey, Shannon, can you mute the YouTube?
Did I go back in the future? What just happened? Why do I hear?
Are we good?
Yeah, we're good.
Hi.
Shannon?
How's it going?
Good. That was so funny. I thought you were talking. So I was like, okay.
Yeah, no, it's good. YouTube just has like, I don't know, 5-10 second delay. So
That was awesome. Okay, well, thank you. Sorry, I don't know. I felt like I was following the wrong link, and I'm sorry that I'm late, but I'm here. Hi.
It's all good. Hi. Nice to
Hi.
meet you.
Yeah, you too. Thank you for inviting me here.
Yeah. So obviously Shannon, meet Davida.
Hi,
Hi.
Shannon.
Hi.
So nice to meet
You
you.
too.
Yeah.
So you guys are on opposite coasts. I'm so glad to make this happen between the two of you.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. I'm like sitting here yawning, trying to stay awake. I'm like, where's my coffee? It's 10:11 here. So
Oh
I'm
my
like,
gosh.
yeah, it's a little late. It's a little late. We're gonna make it work.
Okay, yeah, I'm just hiding from my kids because they have to go to bed soon.
Uh-huh.
So there you go.
Yeah. Oh, I remember those days. How
Yeah.
old are yours, if you don't mind my asking?
8 and 5. Yeah.
I remember those days. Mine put themselves to bed now. They come and
Oh,
kiss me goodnight now.
that's so cute. I know. I'm enjoying. I need to just enjoy this time because soon they.
Enjoy it.
Yeah,
It's gonna go by super duper fast.
I know.
Super
I know.
Yeah.
I'm enjoying it.
Good, 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 good. So who are you, Shannon? Tell us all
Yeah.
about you.
Okay, well, my name is Shannon, and my husband and I own a company called Simply Merino. It's an online company where we make merino wool products. So I design them and we make them locally in Vancouver. Our wool comes from Australia,
Ooh.
and we started as a kids shop. So we have lots of baby and kids products, but now we've branched into women's wear and some men. But that's what I do. So it's an online shop. We don't really have anything in shops really, but that's kind of me in a nutshell.
So wait, now I'm gonna go ahead and find your website because I
Sure.
need to see all this amazingness that are you making these items?
No, so I am not a maker.
Oh, okay.
And no, I did do fashion studies and I made my own grad dress, which I was very proud of, but I would never be able to make what we make. Sure I could, but I would like give it away because it wouldn't be good quality. I don't make it. I just design it, and we work with 3 different manufacturers in Vancouver, and they are like the skill masters. They're amazing. But I don't make it.
You're
Colors, I
designing it.
design.
Yeah, that's pretty major. You're a maker.
I'm
You are
I'm
a maker.
well,
You are a maker. If you
not
are
like some
any-
of the people on the talk sites who you have, and it's like, okay, I'm not like that.
you're a maker. Take it.
Thank
Just
you.
welcome.
Thank you.
Yo.
Some people do think that I make everything, and I'm like, oh my gosh, no. I don't have time, no, I could not do that. So no, I do not make them.
Got it. This is super cool. Tell us about the yarn. I'm interested in learning more about it.
Okay, well, I actually just talked with Anna from Longway Homestead, and she just explained it really well, just like the Canadian wool and where it is with apparel. And we only use Australian merino wool. One, because there's not a lot of merino wool in Canada, or merino sheep. It's all spun there. It's all done in Australia, whereas in Canada, we don't have the infrastructure to do so. So all of the farms we work with are in New Zealand and Australia, and they are RWS standard, which is, and I'm blanking on it, but they treat their sheep fair and with respect and ethics, and real wool standard. No, responsible wool standard. That's
Okay, you got it.
what? Oh my God. Jeez, I'm trying to market myself. That's horrible. Yeah. So
everything is done in Australia, New Zealand, and then we ship it over by freight, and we do everything here. So I'm not a fiber farmer. I get all the information from our supplier in Australia, but that's not my expertise per se, but I do try to be as transparent as I can on our website as much as I know. And if I don't know those questions, I do ask our supplier, because again, I don't know everything. This is my daughter, Ruby. I'm in a meeting.
It's Ruby. I think I just clicked on Ruby in the picture here on the website. Is this Ruby?
She might be in a few. I try not to put my kids in many, but they're around for sure.
Oh, I love it. Really cool
She's
product.
actually wearing our wool right now. Let's see, Ruby. Oh my gosh.
Oh
Nice.
boy. How
I'm wearing our wool too. Kate, you have to go upstairs, sweetie. Thank you. Bye.
I had heard Shannon and Anna, who's our next guest, talking on an Instagram live. Yeah, sorry, Shannon. I just figured, because your conversation with Anna on Instagram live was really fascinating to me.
Yeah.
I was multitasking. I saw that Anna was going live, and I was like, okay, I need to hear what Anna has to say.
Yeah.
So I was really busy, and it was kind of, it kept drawing my attention away from what I needed to be doing, because what you guys were saying was so fascinating to me. And that's why, even though, like you said, what you do is manufactured, you're not, hand knitting or anything like that. But what you do is so important. And I feel like so important to so many people who are fiber artists and makers, because you're making the kinds of things that we want to wear with the things that we put in our time and energy to make.
Yeah, it's so true. So true. Well, thank you. And I also learned so much from Anna. And, why I spoke with Anna as well is that a lot of customers have asked, like, why don't you support Canadian wool? Like, why don't you make your things out of Canadian wool? And Anna explained it very well, that at this point in life, we are unable to do so. So if anything, if I could advocate or help or like try to promote Canadian wool, I am here for it. It's just tricky on our end to do anything with the wool. We do work with we get our wool dryer balls from
the General Bean.
Yeah. We don't have any on our site right now, but yeah, I've worked with them for many years, and yes, I am a big supporter, obviously, but one day I'm sure we'll do some kind of Canadian wool, hopefully.
So I am an American, and I'm not sure what,
okay.
If you could tell me the why, that would, just for my own education.
It's the same for the United States too.
Okay.
So in order to make a garment out of wool, you can knit it, you can crochet it, right? But in order to make fabric like this woven merino wool shirt, you need machines. Okay. And we do not have those machines here in Canada, nor do you have in the States that would make enough. Right? So the wool industry in Canada has suffered so long. It used to be a thriving source of income, but now it's not. So now it's kind of like we need to change it in order to get these machines back, in order for us to manufacture clothes in Canada and the United States. Because we have manufacturers, like we have unbelievable seamstresses, sewers in Vancouver, Montreal. We just don't have the machines to make the fabric.
Wow. Well, what happened to the machines?
Well, again, I'm just really talking like Anna. She's the one who explains it well, but
basically synthetic fabric came in, and which is so much cheaper than natural fabric.
Right.
So this was, I don't know how many years ago, but that came in and wiped the wool industry out of Canada. So the machines and all that left because synthetic fabric was so much cheaper.
Got it.
Yeah.
Wow.
So there's a little history for you. But now I like it. The wool industry in Canada just seems to be just getting more and more popular, and hopefully like wool in general, I think is just, I don't know, maybe because I'm in the industry, you know, like it's the algorithm that I always see like people loving wool. Maybe that's why. But I really do think there's a movement, one, of natural fabric for sure, slow fashion, small shops,
Mhm.
but also, yeah, supporting local, which is also our fiber farmers, right?
Mhm. Mhm.
So there's a change for sure. There has to be, because we can't keep making synthetic fabrics.
No.
So it's just taking a long time because, again, there's no help from the government, and these things are extremely expensive. So there's that.
Yeah.
Learn something new
Yeah.
every day.
I know. See, what are you making right there? I feel like you're just being a maker over there.
My birthday is tomorrow, so I'm
Oh.
making myself a crown.
Happy birthday.
Thank you.
That's really cute.
Super procrastinator though. Like, what was I thinking? I don't know. We'll
Well,
see.
you're not procrastinating. You're doing two things at once. That's multitasking.
I know, but why did I just think about making this today? Like, why didn't I think about making this last week?
I don't know. That's procrastinating. No, I'm just joking.
Definitely a procrastinator.
So how are you involved in the Fiber Festival? Both of you.
Excuse me, the lovely Holly invited me to come on and make people laugh. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh my God, that's so sweet.
Holly did reach out to me. I am one of the influencers for Furls Crochet, and I do a lot of different things in the crochet world. And so when Holly reached out and said that there was going to be this amazing virtual event, and she wanted to know if I would come on and co-host with her.
Oh, lovely. Oh, I love it. And I love the idea of co-hosting.
It's fun
Because
times.
really what just happened with us when I didn't show up, it'd be awkward if, Holly, you were just kind of, you know, talking to yourself.
Yeah. I know.
Perfect. You had a plan.
That was a lot of why. But also just, yeah, I am the organizer for the Edmonton Fiber Frolic. And yeah, I'm very passionate about wool, fiber arts, the community, and bringing the community together. But I'm also very much an introvert. So I do this because I'm passionate about it. But if I was completely in my comfort zone right now, the camera would be off and I would just be posting links in the chat to help people find your website.
Got it. Okay. But it's kind of okay that you kind of don't think that anyone else is watching, right? Like, I just feel like it's just us three.
Having a conversation.
Right? I like it.
Me too.
Yeah.
Me too.
Yeah.
Me
Yeah,
too.
it is nice that way, doing it with Zoom and having it just broadcasting to YouTube. It does feel more intimate, and just knowing, you know, like, yeah, that it's nice that way. But I had a question for you, Shannon. Because, you know, you talked about, like, you studied fashion, and you were chatting about how, you know, like, you get your fabric from Australia. But I wanted to ask you about your driving passion, like choosing wool. Was it just an economic decision where you saw a gap in the industry and you thought, okay, well, you know, Costco can't be the only place that sells wool, so I'm going to fill that gap? what was it that made you think like, okay, I'm gonna go to Australia and get the wool fabric. I'm gonna do this and be simply merino and nothing else?
Okay, great question. Well, one reason for merino wool, there's many, but I studied in university, I studied, I actually got a geography degree, but it was mostly about sustainability and natural resources. And merino wool is a natural resource. It's renewable resource. It's biodegradable. It just ticks up all of these boxes. Does wool make, yes, wool makes, it's my passion because I understand the quality of it, the all of the great properties of it. But, and I think like I can market them when I do because I know how incredible wool is, but it's what my passion is one, trying to be a sustainable apparel company, which is incredibly difficult. I didn't go to fashion. This business isn't because I am a fashionista, like at all. And I think that actually did a favor for me because for me, it's not about, I want to make beautiful quality products, but it's not terribly about the fashion. It's about making those products as sustainable as I can. And that's where my background really is, like my passion is. So early on in our company, we saw how much waste we created as an apparel business because we saw firsthand all of the textile waste from our cutting. So each of our patterns, when they were cut, all of the excess material was just thrown away. And that boggled our mind. Again, I did not come from a fashion background. So all of this was new. And I was like, wow, like, what do you do with this waste? And they throw it out. And that was the norm. And because merino wool is so incredibly expensive, it just like boggled our mind. And also because it's biodegradable, it has all of these properties, it was like, okay, well, we need to keep all of this waste because we're creating it. And we have over 5,000 pounds of waste from our production that we cannot use, that we're hoping to recycle and make into recycled wool fabric. And that's also what I've been talking to Anna about. But we go through each garbage bag from our manufacturers and sort all of the pieces out for patches and craft boxes and packing orders with. And that really, like, when I think of what we've done as a company, again, we've made beautiful products out of merino wool, which I'm super proud of. And we have many returning customers, which is amazing. Like, that makes me happy, but I'm so proud of what we're trying to do as a small business, because like Anna, we don't have the infrastructure or money to be sustainable. You know, like, to be a sustainable apparel company, you need to have time and money because you're the one who's trying to make it sustainable. I go through every garbage bag, right? Like, it's not like we pay someone for that. We don't have infrastructure to recycle any of the waste either. So anyway, that's my passion. That's my drive to keep using wool because I understand how amazing it is, but also to be a waste-free company.
Wow.
That was my drive at the beginning, and it continues to be my drive.
That's awesome.
Wow. Yeah.
That's
Thank
awesome.
you so much, Shannon.
What can I help you eat? What can I
This is my life, trying to be a business owner and having a 5-year-old. One
I
second.
so know.
Anyway, yes.
So know.
It's like a little part, but it's part of what I do and what I'm most passionate about. So thank you for having me here.
Yeah, that was
Yeah.
awesome. That was awesome.
And Yeah. And we have you back for a longer interview tomorrow, right?
Yes. Are we talking about anything in particular or just talking like this? Should I bring some wine?
Yes, bring some wine tomorrow.
Okay. Perfect.
Yeah. Yeah, because it'll just be you and me tomorrow. Davita's birthday's tomorrow, so she's
Oh.
going out on the town.
Okay.
With my crown.
Yeah.
Oh, sounds lovely. I'm jealous.
Oh, that was awesome. Thank you so much for sharing. I really did learn something new tonight, and I appreciate that. You know, I look at my clothes differently now. Like, hey, I wonder how much waste was made after making this shirt. You know, something that you just don't think about. But when you're, you know, in the thick of it, you have to think about it. So thank you for that.
You're welcome. So next time when you buy a shirt, you say, hey, what do you do with all your textile waste?
Yeah.
And then we're a small shop and we have a lot of waste. So just think of those big shops.
Imagine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
There you go. Something to think about, ladies.
Incredible. Yeesh.
All right.
Okay,
Thank you, Shannon.
Have
Thank
a
you,
great night,
Shannon.
please.
Good night.
Happy birthday.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Wow, that was really
Okay.
insightful.
Mm-hmm. And we have Anna. She's here. She's just there. She is. Hi, Anna.
Hi, how's it going?
Hi, Anna.
Good. How are you?
I'm good. I'm realizing I got some crazy hair going on.
It's all good.
It happens.
I don't know if you were listening in as Shannon was talking. You probably have plenty that you could have said to everything that she was saying.
I just caught the end of it and I was so happy to see Shannon's face because we had a lovely chat on an Instagram live a few weeks ago. And yeah, I love everything she's doing and everything that Simply Merino is trying to make happen. It's pretty exciting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was that Instagram live that I was saying in the course of my our conversation with Shannon that it was that Instagram live. Like I was busy working on stuff for the Fiber Frolic and I got the notification that you guys were going live. And so I kind of tuned in thinking that it would just be kind of playing in the background. And I kept like having my attention drawn over because it was such a fascinating conversation. So it was that had me reach out to her and ask her if she would come and join us for the virtual festival. So thank you for doing that.
Oh yeah,
So
my pleasure.
So Anna, meet Davita. Davita, meet Anna.
Hi, Anna. So nice to meet you. I am learning so much tonight, I gotta tell you. So just having a conversation with Shannon talking about waste and you know, in the fabric world, it was just so enlightening. But I'd love to know who you are and what you do.
Okay. My name's Anna. I am a first generation farmer. I didn't grow up on a farm. I grew up a city girl in Calgary. I opened up a yarn store in East Vancouver in 2009. My desire was to open up a 100-mile yarn store. So I would have only fiber and yarn that was from within 100 miles of the Lower Mainland in Vancouver. And that didn't happen because there wasn't enough wool that I could access for my yarn shop. So I quickly changed my business plan, but that was sort of the seed that was planted around this disconnect between like a very strong agriculture industry in Canada, lots of sheep farms, over 1 million sheep in Canada, and very little to no wool that was grown and manufactured locally. So fast forward 5.5 years, my husband Luke and I sold the business and we moved to Manitoba. So we are in dead center of Canada. We're literally like 20 miles from the longitudinal center of Canada. And we now have 140 acres that we manage and that we're stewards of, and we raise Shetland sheep. And then in 2018, we opened up a wool processing mill. So we process wool from not only our flock, but from shepherds across the prairies. And sort of out of that work and trying to create this
sense of connection for fiber artists and consumers of wool and fiber, came this sort of story that we've been telling about our own journey, all our mistakes, some of our successes, and how we can reinvigorate the Canadian wool industry, which has sort of been decimated over the last 100 years. So that's
Wow.
like the Cole's notes on who I am.
Incredible. How many acres did you say?
We have about 140 mixed
Oh.
grassland, wetland, forest, and bush.
That's incredible. So awesome. So you just said, you know what, we're just going to do this thing, and you just did it. That's just so inspiring. So how many sheep do you all own sheep? You own sheep?
Yeah, we raise Shetland sheep. They are a heritage breed. We have about 40, and then we have 2 guardian llamas that that keep our flock safe from coyotes. And we keep our flock around that size. We're not interested in growing it just between the mill, and we have 2 kids, and about all we can manage at this point.
So I was, Holly was sharing a little bit of information with me, and she said you're a shepherdess. I just love that. Hey, I'm like, so shepherdess. I'm sorry, I get really geeked out about certain things. So how do you process the wool? Like this, we get so accustomed to just having things already ready for us. Like I'm a city girl, I'm here in New York, and I just go to the store and get what I want, right? But you're actually involved with the process of making the yarn that I'm going to use to crochet with, or for those who knit, like what's the process? You don't have to get granular if you don't want, but I'm just so curious. Sorry.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's a great question. And to be honest, I think it's a question that everyone who works with wool needs to be asking. Like, what actually goes into getting this thing from farm fields, which ultimately wool is? It's an agricultural product. And unless you knit with predominantly acrylic, it's agriculture. And we become so disconnected from the fact that our clothing and our textiles are agriculture that we don't even know anything about the process. So a lot of what I do through my business and through my teaching and just storytelling in general is to try and create that connection to help people understand it. So it takes 365 days for sheep to grow their wool. Our sheep are sheared only once a year, usually at the end of April. And we hire a shearer, a badass woman named Stacy, who comes and shears all the sheep. And then we take that wool, and the first thing we have to do is wash it. So or scour it, we call it, in super hot water to get rid of all that lanolin and the dirt and the manure. And then we have about 5 or 6 machines that the wool goes through. We pick it. And for people who are hand spinners or who have processed raw wool before, these are all the same steps that you do by hand. We just do it with big machinery. So we pick the wool, we card the wool, we draw the wool.
Oh man, she dropped.
Oh, shoot.
It was just
Okay.
good.
I know, hey? Okay, well, hopefully she'll come back.
She'll come back. This is just
Yeah.
incredible to me. Like I said, you just don't think about the process that goes into getting that product that you pick up at the store. You just don't, because you're just so
Mhm.
accustomed to going to the aisles, like for me, at a Michael's or at a Joann's or at a Walmart or whatever, and you pick up what you need and you keep it moving. But to hear the story behind how this stuff actually comes to be is just so important. And we should know about the origins of the products that we're using, especially, like she said, if we're using agriculture. So I hope she's able to get back on, because I really want to learn.
Yeah. No, I feel like I need to have her come in as long as she has time. I want to have her come in for another at least for another half hour, if not for a more extended time slot to talk more. Because she has workshops, like she's coming, I think I mentioned to you, like she's coming to teach at the Edmonton Fiber Frolic this fall, and she's doing a keynote around a wool producers panel with 2 other ladies who are also shepherdesses.
Shepherdess. I love that. Sorry.
But yeah, she teaches on, especially because she does so much work with the specific, because a lot of her work she does with specific types of like she'll work with specific flocks of sheep for people,
Sheep.
right? So she does all Shetland for her own, but then she'll work with, someone may raise just Gotland sheep, or someone may raise just, different breeds of sheep. So
And
she's
can I
very
be
familiar.
completely transparent? I did not know that there were so many different breeds of sheep. Like, you just don't know these things. If you're not ingrained in it, you just don't know it. She's back.
Yeah. Yeah, she's back.
Good old internet.
Yeah.
Gotta love it.
Hi, everyone. Sorry.
No worries.
To mention that it's windy here, and when it's windy, who knows what's going to happen with our rural internet. Sorry.
Oh boy, no worries. So you were talking about, and I'm going to say it how y'all say it, the process of all of that you were doing with the sheep. So I think you were at the, I don't know what part.
Parting.
There you go.
Carding.
Parting.
So
Yeah.
we card the wool, which is basically just combing all the fibers so they're laying parallel to each other. And then we take it to the spinner and we spin it. And yeah, basically we're adding twist to fibers, depending on what those fibers, how long they are and how much crimp they have. And then we usually ply it. So we're taking 2 or more single strands, and we're plying them the opposite direction that we spun them. And then we skein it. And then we actually also do natural dyeing. So we grow about 80% of all the dyes that we use on our yarn. So plants and minerals and things that we can either forage or grow on our farm. So yeah, that's kind of basically the process of what we do here. And one of the advantages to having our own mill is that we can really focus on breeds. So there's over 200 domestic breeds of sheep out there. Each of them have their own unique characteristics and qualities. And I think as knitters, certainly for me, like I owned a retail store. I thought I knew everything there was to know about yarn, but my knowledge was really limited. I had access to Merino, that's a breed of sheep, and to BFL, which is another breed, and maybe Corriedale, and that was about it. But that's really actually very limited in terms of what breeds are out there and how they react differently and respond differently to manipulation, and how they'll actually really inform our knitting or crochet or spinning. So a lot of what I focus on now is talking about those breeds and why we might want to use a certain breed for a certain project or whatnot. So I'm really excited to teach that at the Fiber Frolic coming up on the 12th and 13th, both breed specific knitting and breed specific felting. So I feel like every knitter needs to take some sort of course that talks about breeds, because I think it'll change your life. I mean, I am teaching it, so I'm totally biased, but I also think people should just take that course.
I was just telling Holly that I didn't realize that there were so many different breeds of sheep. And then you just came on and said there are over 200.
Yeah.
That's incredible. How do you, that's just incredible. And I'm so excited to learn more about, the different breeds and how they work up and, how they're manipulated. And I'm just in awe of just the process and the thought that goes behind it. And it makes, when we look at pricing, people, it's just like that's why wool costs what it costs,
Yeah.
Yeah.
And often when I talk about it, when I lecture, that's what I say is when you go into a yarn, like a yarn shop, or even sort of the larger box stores, and you buy a ball of yarn for $6 or $7, that does not reflect the true cost of what goes into that yarn. That barely even pays the farmer what it's worth. So who is paying the true cost of wool? And I mean, I think if we look at it, the answer is the same as who's paying the true cost for so much of our other things that we consume and our sort of globalized economy is, people in poor countries,
the environment. Those are the sorts of things that are paying the true cost for these things that we enjoy. So once we have a deeper connection and a deeper understanding to what goes into making these products and this wool that we all love, I think we learn to appreciate it more and probably make better consumption decisions.
That's key right there. We'll start to make better consumption decisions. Wow. Thank you so much for that, Anna. That was just like illuminating for me. And I'm not just saying that just, to be talking, but I'm really serious. Like it just is making me think differently, even talking to Shannon and now hearing you, it's just making me think differently about these products that I purchase. And I'm not a knitter, but as a crocheter, I still am using these resources, and it's good stuff. This is really important stuff. Any craft that you do, you should be educated on it, right? So to me, this is so important that we are all educated on the tools of the trades that we have. So thank you for sharing.
True.
Yeah.
And I mean, not to plug myself, but here I go, plugging myself again.
Plug yourself.
Another one of the workshops that I'm doing at the Fiber Frolic in Edmonton is the history of wool textile production in Canada. And when I told my husband Luke that I was going to start talking about this and I was going to start lecturing, he was like, "That sounds like a real yawner." And it does sound a little boring. I'm talking about like manufacturing history in Canada, but it actually is really relevant and I think pretty incredible. 150 years ago in Canada, we were producing 90% of all the textiles we consumed. So all the clothing we wore, all the wool that we knit with, all the flax that we used for linen, we were growing it and manufacturing it. We had the knowledge and the labor force and the equipment. And now we produce less than 2% of everything we consume in Canada in terms of textiles. So we have lost so much of that, and it's a real tragedy. And when I talk about it, I don't want to paint this picture of like, 150 years ago, textile factories were the way to go. They weren't. They were like places of major oppression and like horrible working conditions for women and children. But I think if we understand that we used to have that capacity and what that looked like, and we can learn from those challenges, then we can start looking at building a better path forward. One that's more sustainable, one that is more equitable, and one that will ultimately prolong our, ability to live on this planet without absolutely decimating everything. So anyway.
I agree. This is good stuff. I'm telling you, this is good stuff. Really, really good stuff. Holly?
Yeah. I know. I mean, this is why I wanted to have, this is why I invited you on, Anna. This is why I've invited each person on, because I'm just so fascinated by what everyone has to say. I basically just wanted to let you talk.
Don't get me started, because I can talk.
I know. You know what I actually really want to have you talk for the last little bit about is that I have not had a chance to talk very much about the Wool Producers Roundtable that's going to be happening as that afternoon keynote at the Edmonton Fiber Frolic. And it is one of the things that I am probably more excited about. I don't want to say more excited because I don't want to compare, because I'm excited about every single bit of Fiber Frolic. But I'm really excited about the Wool Producers Roundtable. And in fact, this afternoon, I spoke with a reporter from a local newspaper and was trying to explain to him how important sustainability was as part of the landscape of the Fiber Frolic. And I used the words carbon sequestration, and he was just like, "What?" And I was like, you know what? I'm gonna, like, you're gonna quote me in the newspaper. I'm gonna sound so stupid because I'm a city girl trying to talk about stuff that I really like. I grew up in the country, but I don't know. I'm out of my depth, and you're the expert. So I would really love for you to talk about, like, across Canada, there's so much work going on, that I'm really excited for you three ladies in the Wool Producers Roundtable to talk about in that panel discussion. And I would love for you to just kind of give us broad strokes of what that kind of discussion is going to look like.
Yeah, I'm super excited too. Like, anytime you get 1 or 2, 3, as many as you can, shepherds or shepherdesses or wool processors in the room, we are just going to go off, and that's pretty exciting and fun to be around. So I'm really excited about it too. Yeah, and I think your comment on carbon sequestration is great and awesome. And I just spent a day talking to 250 grade sixers about wool and why it's so awesome. And so I've gotten my whole description of the carbon cycle and why wool is a carbon sink down pat. So basically, I'll start with that. So essentially, wool is 50% carbon. So just a little bit about the carbon cycle. There is natural occurring carbon dioxide in our atmosphere. Plants take in that carbon through the process of photosynthesis and light. They convert it into sugars, and some of those sugars go down into the soil and feed those microbes, and that's how we store carbon in soil. And part of that carbon stays in those grasses or forbs or legumes, and then sheep come by and they eat those grasses or forbs or legumes, and they convert that sugar, those carbohydrates into energy, and they use that energy to grow things like meat and milk and wool. And then we harvest that wool, and it's still hanging on to all that carbon, 50% carbon. So when we think about how we hang on to carbon dioxide, that wool will hang on to that carbon basically until that article of clothing or that ball of yarn is discarded, and then we trash it. Either trash it in a compost pile where those nutrients and that carbon can go back in the soil, or we trash it in a landfill where it becomes part of those gas emissions going back into the atmosphere. So I like to think about all of us like walking around in our wool sweaters and our wool hats as like little tiny carbon sinks. And we're just hanging on to that carbon, and we're preventing it from being in the atmosphere. And I think if we can change the way we perceive wool into little tiny carbon sinks, we can start realizing the opportunity to fight climate change because of the choices we're making in terms of our clothing. And, when we look at synthetics, which have made up so much of our clothing, they're drawing carbon from a different pool altogether. Instead of carbon from the atmosphere, they're taking carbon that's already stored in the ground through the extraction of fossil fuels. So that's, what carbon pool are we grabbing from for our clothing? So, and I think that there's some exciting things going on across the country, like you said, with farmers and shepherds and wool mill owners and passionate people about wool, looking at how we can use wool and sheep to further the fight against climate change, to sequester more carbon, but also just to create a more sustainable or regenerative textile industry across the country. And I find when the nature of farming is you're kind of isolated, right? We're all in these independent silos on our land across the country or in our different regions, and there isn't that much time for face-to-face connection. And so sometimes it feels really alone, and sometimes it also feels like you're the only one going through these things. But when we can get in a room together and we can start talking about the challenges and also the opportunities, it becomes extremely inspiring for the future. So I'm really looking forward to that. I have not actually ever met Jennifer in real life. We've been on lots of Zoom calls, so I'm so excited to meet her in real life and to be able to sit on a panel next to her and just talk about all the awesome things that other people are doing.
That's so good. Yeah, I hadn't realized that you guys hadn't met in real life, because you have, like you guys talked together in our first virtual event.
Yeah.
So
yeah, so that'll be great.
Yeah. Yeah. And yeah, Alexandra Martin from Rosebud River is gonna join you guys as well. So yeah, that'll be
Awesome.
really,
I was actually just texting
yeah.
her today. I was like, have you ever processed this fiber? It's giving me such a pain in the ass. Like, help me out. Alex is awesome. It'll be awesome. It'll be a great panel.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm really, really looking forward to hearing what you guys have to say. So, and Davida, I'm sorry, I kind of totally left you out of that. So yeah, there's going to be a panel at the Fiber Frolic, just as sort of a keynote presentation from the stage of producers talking about, you know, the issues and challenges, but also like the joys, like you said, of production and yeah, giving people like us who get that end product a peek behind the curtain, you know.
Yeah.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah, this is super cool. Super, super cool. Thank you, Anna.
So,
Yeah. See, I told you,
Yeah.
once I get started talking about wool, there's no shutting me up.
One last little question, because I know you have Shetland sheep, but I don't think I know why you chose Shetlands over anything else.
Well, that's a very good question. I wish my original answer was better, but when we moved to Manitoba, so we had a 5-year plan. We sold Bad Anna's, which was my yarn store in Vancouver, in 2015 and moved here in 2015, and we had a 5-year plan. So we were gonna like figure out where to live and figure out how to farm, and I was gonna read a lot of books and maybe find an apprenticeship, and then by 2020 we were gonna start our sheep farm. I got sheep in 2016, so I was a little impatient to say the least, and I didn't know what I was doing, and I didn't know what breed I wanted because I didn't really know anything about them. So I chose Shetlands because I had a trusted friend who was a Shetland breeder, and I knew that if I bought her animals, they would be in good condition and they would be really healthy, and she was willing to sell them to me. So that's why I started with Shetlands, and they're a slightly smaller breed physically. So in the beginning, when I didn't know what I was doing, the idea of being able to manage a smaller sheep seemed also very appealing. I think if I was to make that decision again, I would probably again still choose Shetlands. I find them to be an incredibly resilient breed, probably because they are a heritage breed, so they're very hardy. I love their personalities, and then also the color is just unparalleled in any other breed, in my opinion. Shetlands have 11 distinct colors within the breed, so we've got grays and blacks and whites and browns and tans and all these beautiful natural shades of wool, and they're just stunning. So I think if I was to go back and make my decision again, I'd probably still choose Shetlands, but just from a place of informed decision rather than just luck.
That's cool.
That's amazing. I
Wow.
love it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
I've only been to a few shearings for sheep, and Shetland sheep was one of them. And they are like feeling the fleece right after it's come off and seeing, like, I know it kind of gets all mixed up once you go to processing, but seeing all the patches of color, oh my gosh, it's so beautiful.
Yeah, they're totally beautiful. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So Davida, we got to get you out of the city. You got to get out to the country.
I need to get to a sheep farm. We got to make this happen.
I know there's some outside of you said you were in New York, right?
I'm in New York, yeah.
You're welcome to come to Middle Canada. I'd love to show you around our sheep farm, but there's probably some closer ones to where you are.
Okay.
Manitoba isn't necessarily a destination, but I think it is. I think it's a fantastic place, but
Wow, I'm just so inspired, by all that you do. And I'm grateful, that you're keeping this art alive. It takes people like you to keep it going and to keep it relevant. And the fact that you're speaking to children about it says a lot, because that's where it dies, right? When we stop talking about it, when we stop doing it, it dies. So I'm grateful for people like you who are still willing to educate our children and let them know the importance of where these products are coming from and how they're processed and why we should respect the land. And, you know, all those things is really important. So thank you. Thank you for
Yeah,
all that.
well, thank you.
Yeah, that's so important. This has been a great evening.
Well, I'm so glad that I've been able to be a part of it.
Yeah, this has been great. I've learned so much. I'm looking forward to the remainder of this festival. I know it's going to be fabulous.
Yeah, I'm already can't wait to be in Edmonton, and yeah, it'll be
I
really
wish I
exciting.
In person. One day I'll be up there and I get to hang out with you guys.
Yeah.
This is awesome.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's it for tonight then. We're wrapping it up.
Awesome.
Alrighty.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you
Yeah.
everyone
Thank you,
for
Anna.
hanging out
Mhm.
with us. It has definitely been a great time. Come back tomorrow. We'll be back on. Holly got some amazing things going on later on. Tomorrow is going to be a fabulous day. So make sure you tune in, check your emails and all that good stuff.
Yeah. All right. Thank you.
Thank